Meeting will come to order, please. The notice requirements of the Open Public Meeting Act for this meeting have been satisfied. Will you please take a second, turn off all electronic equipment as we stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Attention, salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Joanna, call the roll, please.
Mayor Becker?
Here.
Commissioner Amadeo?
Here.
Commissioner Blumberg?
I am here.
Being as there are no special items for discussion on the agenda, we will begin with department head reports. Frank, would you like to begin?
Sure. We were down on the street ends and we put all new boards across so people can lock their bikes up. We're also working on our bike rack project, which is going to take some time, but we have a grant for that. Next week, the 23rd, after basketball camp, we're going to have all the bushes that are like 20, 25 foot tall, excuse me, out the ball field trimmed. We also had all the trees and bushes trimmed at Thai School. We had to go to do our playground inspections for this year, and we found out that the bridge on one of the pieces of equipment at the pavilion was rotted out, all the hinges and everything. So we did purchase a new bridge. We also installed it, and all our playgrounds are in pretty good shape. This past couple of weeks, we fixed 4 water leaks, 2 sewer repairs, and put 5 meter crocks in. We're just doing a lot of repairs now because we have the time of the season to do it. We also started cleaning this week behind all the sand dunes. Some people requested it. We've done from Fredericksburg to Douglas and from Rumson to Cedar Grove. The other dunes are so close to the bulkhead, they're very hard to get to, so we just send our guys back there to hand pick any trash or litter they find. Washington and Ventnor Avenue, we're going to be putting planters there by the barricades to beautify it a little bit. The planters were ordered 3 weeks ago. We're waiting for them to be delivered within a week, and then we will put them out there and plant some decorative shrubs and
We're going to push the barricades back a little bit.
wherever you want them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We got to get those planters out of the crosswalk.
Yep, no problem. And then we'll plant some flowers and decorative bushes in there and beautify it. That's all I have.
Thank you, Frank. Good job as always. Jim?
Mayor, can I
Yes.
just make a positive comment? I think the Margate landscaping, especially along our major roads, is as good as any place there is in the state. And I think I'd just like to bring public attention to that. Thanks, Frank.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rich. Jim?
Nice job, Frank. Flowers look great. They do. If you could just please check your policies on your flood insurance and make sure you get 25% discount. We had a number of calls like this week. People are concerned about their policies and seeing if they're getting their discount. You can bring them into my office. I can review it with you, and you can tell you if you're getting your 25%. It would behoove you to go out and get an elevation cert if you had an older property that is high in flood insurance, and you get maybe you can get a better rate on your flood insurance. And if you come to my office, I can explain to you what an elevation certificate looks like. This could save you a number of dollars. We noticed a lot of policies are out there are very high, and just some flood venting and your elevation cert could probably save you $1,000 or maybe $2,000. On another note, we're trying to make sure the construction sites are clean for a lot of the people on the beach block. I know a number of calls have come in. I think I forgot your name. Brokers is here for that issue. We're really concerned about that, and we're trying our best to make sure that people on the beach blocks are happy, and as long as other residents in Margate. That's all I have.
Thank you, Jim.
Jim,
Dick?
can I ask you a question, Mayor?
You may.
Jim, and maybe Johanna, I'd sent an email very late today. We passed the flood ordinance 2 weeks ago or a week ago. We had a deadline of August 28th to fix flood insurance. My only question to you is, has that been sent to the state? Do we know that we're in good shape? Does anybody know?
I mailed it to Alan Gould on
Okay.
Friday.
Friday after the last meeting?
After the last meeting. And they were calling me every 2 to 3
Yeah.
days to find out where they're standing, and I haven't heard from them this week at all, so they must have received them.
Are you in touch with them at all, Jim?
He calls me periodically, but she got it up to him in time. He's in charge of all the flood.
So you feel that we're okay with that?
Yes, we're okay.
All right, thank you.
Ed?
Okay, nothing other than what I went over earlier, except I did send a letter to the DEP asking them to resolve the exposed bolt issue. Please get back to me with how they want to resolve that issue. I did that right after the last meeting.
Good.
Okay. In addition, I do have the list that was utilized for the grant application for the bike lanes, for the bike racks. There was a meeting with the county, a week and a half ago with one of my staff about that grant, that the contract we're getting with the county to go out to bid for the bike racks. And I do have our list, of which all the street ends were part of it, so we may want to look at now. We may want to look, what do we want to do? Do we want to utilize the wood ones as permanents and try to redistribute those other ones? It's just a thought, but none of the paperwork's really come through yet, but they had a meeting to get the project moving. And I will forward, if you don't have it, I'll forward you the list, because I just got it today.
Yeah, I spoke to Joe earlier.
Yes.
At your office, and I did explain what we did, and I believe he's, I don't know if he's gonna send it to me. but-
I have it, I just got the email before I came in here, so I'll send it to you.
Okay.
Mayor, one question.
Go.
It's a $50,000 grant.
Right.
How many bike racks do you get for 50,000?
You know what, I don't know, probably 50,
You do get that many?
I think so.
So we could do street ends and cover a lot of the business district also.
I believe he can.
Yeah.
Okay,
And I'll forward the list, the tentative list, I'll send it to all of you, and you can see what was proposed, and then we can move from there.
because even with what Frank's crew did, we can supplement it.
Sure.
Because more and more people are taking their bikes to the beach because of the parking situation on Barrier Island in the summer. So I think it'll help us and it'll be advantageous. At least we can cover every street end with multiple situations for bike parking.
Yes.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
I'm gonna
Are
forward it
there any
to,
restrictions to location of the bike racks?
not really, it's up to us,
Okay.
where we feel they'd be advantageous and safe. Obviously, we can't put them where the bicycles would totally block the sidewalk, for example. We have to be cognizant of that, but other than that, it's pretty much up to us.
Do you have the initial list?
I'll give you the list I have. I'll forward it to you right now. I don't have the one you did.
I'll forward you my list.
Okay.
There's no-
I'm hoping they're the same list.
I hope so.
Yeah.
So, if I might just add, in conjunction with what John said, if we look at a lot of the streets, I think we can, in fact, where there are returns, we could put the bike racks on the returns, keep the wooden slats, so now we absolutely expand the potential for the racks, right? And I didn't see the final list. We could also use some over at the ball field, and maybe replace some of the old ones that are kind of rusty that don't look real good. So-
I'll re-email the list.
All right, good.
The list that we actually submitted with the grant.
Perfect.
To everybody, so.
And I'll take a look at it as well. Thanks.
Okay. Ed, do you have anything else?
No, that's it.
Chief?
Everything's good in the police department. Something I want to note that's of interest is NewJersey.com did an expose this week regarding parking in shore communities. And they surveyed 44 communities, and their thing was based on the number of summonses issued per square mile. And just like I said all along, in Margate, we strike a balance. Out of 44, we sit at number 21, which is right in the middle, which is where I think we want to be. So we're not high end, we're not at the low end, we're right where we want to be. We're doing what we're supposed to be doing. Because I know there's been some criticisms and some controversy about our parking enforcement. It's right exactly where we want to be. If anybody wants to see it, it's on nj.com. It's a pretty interesting meeting.
Mike, can I ask the chief a question related to that? So I know that this is near and dear to your heart, but it was brought up to me again the other day, this situation that we have on Atlantic Avenue, but it happens on Atlantic and Ventnor, where we have multiple lanes, specifically on Atlantic, with cars stopping for people in the crosswalk, but only one of the two cars stopping and people walking, and it becoming extremely, extremely dangerous. What is there that we can do to try and prevent a tragic accident that I see, and people talk to me almost every single day, that either a car doesn't know why the car in the left is stopping and passes on the right in an acceptable lane, and or someone coming the other way. And so for me, I don't think the answer is enforcement. I mean, I don't think it's that our police aren't out there and ticketing people who don't stop. I think it's a bad application for Atlantic Avenue that we just need to fix somehow.
Unfortunately, Commissioner, that's how we deal with it right now, is via enforcement. That's the only vehicle we have other than the PIOs. We do the public information campaigns and stuff like that. Short of the reconfigurement of Atlantic Avenue, there's not much I can do, or my officers can do.
So at one point in time, I thought you had mentioned to me that you were going to research that maybe that law did not apply to a 4-lane highway or a 4-lane road.
It does.
It does, yeah.
Okay.
And there's no chance of getting it changed with the climate in Trenton right now.
No. And
Can I have
Mayor?
my 2 cents?
Yeah,
Go ahead.
You
Yep.
go first.
Okay, no, you go. I'm older, I'll go first.
And Commissioner, I believe we've been proactive, lowering the speed limit to 25.
Absolutely.
To try and get more in control. But again, it comes down to being, like the chief said, having public awareness that crosswalks are a state law. It's not a law we created, it's a state law that, demands a motorist to stop when somebody's foot is off the curb and encroaching on to the street or the road. It becomes self-responsibility and being able to know what you're supposed to be doing at the time.
Right.
And
And for me, people have become emboldened.
Yes.
And they don't look, and they just walk. And in the old days, we didn't do that. You looked both ways, and you didn't just cross the street. So maybe one of the suggestions that I might have, and I know that Dawn is passionate about this, maybe we have her include that with Dave and yourself as part of some type of public information program that we, try and redouble our efforts on.
I totally agree with you, and I think probably the most practical way to get through this is through education, because we can't redo our streets and I agree with you, Marty. There's not a day goes by that people don't say something about the streets and that god awful law that they passed up at the state. So I think we should make a big commitment to educating the people as best we can.
Good. Thank you.
Rich. Sorry to wake you up, Rich.
We passed them over.
I've been passed over before.
Oh, you were out.
That's right, he wasn't passed.
The only thing I have today, I said enough at the Capitol meeting, was a second capital ordinance, which we have planned since the very beginning, is now planned to be introduced in September. And the reason why we held off on a number of items back in the spring is because we didn't know what the status of, one of which was this Amherst Avenue bulkhead. So in conjunction with the design efforts that we talked about tonight, which is already funded we need to put a number in, and so we're going to need your help together with whatever else you put in, if it wasn't.
It's in my,
It was included?
yes.
Okay. So primarily, that's what this ordinance is for, is the Amherst Avenue bulkhead. But there'll be other items, which by the end of August, everyone is due to get that information to myself and to Lisa, so we can have an ordinance prepared for September. Thank you.
Thank you, Rich. Scott?
Thank you, Commissioners, a number of items. First, I would like
Not
to...
you,
What's that?
this guy.
We're gonna have to do something about this, aren't we? But, okay.
Okay, fire department. First of all, we have 3 of our new recruits that are on shifts right now, starting this week. They're all trained, they've been through firefighter 1, and we'll be continuing their training as far as what our stuff is concerned, our equipment and our apparatus. On Tuesday night, this coming Tuesday night, there's a hurricane preparedness meeting for Down Beach communities. It's going to be at the Margate Municipal Building on Union Avenue. And the people that are going to be there are people from Margate, Ventnor, Longport, Atlantic County, South Jersey Gas, Atlantic Electric. Also the from the National Weather Service Forecast Department, Jim Eberwine's going to be there also, and these guys are going to be there to present things and ask questions. What we're going to do with the fire department, we're going to set up a mock evacuation center there with cots and show them what we do, anybody that comes to that meeting. What we do, how we have it set up with cots and bags of things that we give the people that are there, things like that. So that's going to be Tuesday night. Other than that, it's been a fairly safe summer.
Thank you, Scott. Scott?
Okay, several things. First, we have ordinance number 21 of 2018, which deals with a portion of Amherst Avenue, actually privately owned lot 2.03. You will recall that the predecessor entitled to the current developer, Barbary Coast, deeded a much longer strip back to the city so we could clear up any ambiguity as to title. This ordinance now fulfills a commitment that was made to the developer, who's in the process of redeveloping both the Barbary Coast and next door harbor. They both have built their bulkheads as we wanted, those bulkheads replacing part of the dilapidated bulkhead system we have along Amherst Avenue. And so this ordinance, I would urge you to adopt it tonight. There is a contract then. Ultimately, once we've accepted the bulkhead and the improvements, we will authorize the transfer of title, which I anticipate to have that happen very shortly. So I'd urge you to adopt this ordinance. It's coming up for introduction. We also have resolution number 124-2018, which we talked about at our capital program. We're going to amend this ordinance, Johanna, and I'll help you with the wording. Instead of it being accepting of, it has to do with the acceptance of a proposal by Arthur W. Ponzu Company Associates regarding, again, Amherst Avenue and the bulkhead replacement issues that have come up. It's now going to be an August 15 proposal rather than the July 27. And we get into the now therefore, the amount of the contract will not to exceed $94,700 for a 1-year period. Contract will be bifurcated so as to specify the 25% representing the Lamberti bulkhead shall not be the responsibility of Margate if the tenant complies with its lease obligations to construct up to 315 feet of bulkhead. So in other words, we wouldn't pay twice if they honor that commitment. If they don't, we'll have our own engineering and we'll move forward and re-bulkhead the entire area, which is in dire need of replacement. Let's see, what else? The only other thing, and I had mentioned it, but I'm so elated that the press recognized the efforts of Ocean City to go into their resiliency program for the Back Bay flooding. And if you saw yesterday's editorial, that is exactly what we as Margate have been trying to do now for the past year and a half. We do have another what's called a NIFWIF application. NIFWIF is what? National Wildlife Fish and Wildlife funding to again help us in conjunction with Ventnor to utilize Shelter Island for possible dredge material being placed there to restore the marine habitat that was destroyed many years ago when they used that for dredging material, and they raised the elevations of lower Ventnor and upper Margate. I guess a lot of people were shocked to find out that Margate owns half of that island with Ventnor. It used to be a joint sewer plant for both cities. So we're working with Ventnor. We've taken the lead on it because our lagoons are in pretty bad shape. We're trying to get the approvals. We can get those lagoons and waterfront dredged out. So another positive thing, the NIFWIT grant is in. Hopefully we'll get the money. I think this governor might like us. I don't know. Hopefully we'll do that. So there we are. Any questions of me? Yes.
Scott, the way I understood you just talked about the first item, the Amherst Avenue bulkhead and the bifurcation,
Yes.
all of which you said that I understood is accurate. What wasn't included in the language that I believe has to be included is that we're bifurcating the amount that we're authorizing in this resolution. The resolution's for 96,000, but 75% of it is authorized now. The other 25%, it has to be in the resolution and in the contract, only upon notification to proceed by the city engineer. Otherwise, the whole resolution says that he can do the $96,000 worth of work. We have to say that we call notification to proceed.
I agree with you, and that's the intent. Will be bifurcated so as to specify that 25% representing the Liberty bulkheading should not be the responsibility of Margate if tenant complies with its lease obligation. That compliance is supposed to occur within the next 30 days. So I can bifurcate it and specify it and change it so that the lease will, you don't want to authorize the 25, so it'd be less than it's actually 94,700. So just authorize 75% of that?
Yes. Yes.
Done.
Okay.
Authorize 75%
Without a further notice to proceed.
without further notice to proceed. Okay.
The contract's for 94, he's only authorized to proceed for 75%,
Okay.
Unless we authorize.
unless authorized by the city.
You good? You okay now, Rich?
Got it.
Okay. And you have anything else, Scott?
No, I do not.
Okay. Maury, you have anything?
No, Mike, thank you.
Scott? John?
Mayor, I only have one question for Scott. You had mentioned earlier about going into closed session over litigation.
Well, we could go into a closed session about the two sisters litigation. I brought the file here, or two daughters, excuse me, litigation. I would like to update you on that and give you my views on what we can do.
Let's do it at the public.
Do it after the regular meeting,
Regular
right?
meeting, right.
Yeah.
Okay,
You okay
thank
with
you.
that, John?
Yep.
You okay with that?
Yep.
You have anything else, John?
Nope.
I have nothing. Johanna and Fred.
All's
I-
well
I
in the
look for
clerk's
it.
office.
Fred?
All is well in the
IT.
technology office.
We're going to get into comedian order. Okay. We're now going to open to public comment. For those who haven't been here before, you have 3 minutes to comment. It's restricted to anything that was discussed here today. If you have another subject, we'll, at the end of public comment, we'll close that meeting, open the second, the regular meeting, and at the beginning of that meeting, you'll have a section where you can talk about anything you want for the same time period, okay? At this point, we'll open for public comment. 3 minutes on anything that was discussed here today. Any public comment? Please state your name and address, please.
Yeah, Fred Tercey, 9400 Amherst Avenue. I have one question regarding the proposed, I guess, giving the parking spaces to the Barbary Coast project. Based on the law, it sounded like that if there are contiguous owners, it would have to be offered to all. Was it offered to others? Was there an auction bid? Those are my questions.
I can answer that. No, it's a undersized lot. There is a special statutory provision that authorizes us to transfer title, so that you have your facts straight. The predecessor transferred a much longer strip back to us as there was an ambiguity in title. They have agreed to replace the entire bulkhead along there, which they're doing. In fact, I think they're just about done. This ordinance will now put it in authorization to give them back 70 feet, which will allow them to have their minimum parking that they need and a stairway and storage area. That's what we're doing. So no, there was not an obligation to offer to
Two
adjoining.
contiguous owners on each side.
well, number one, they're the owner on the other side. It's the city of Margate and them.
So you're just giving them the center of the park?
Just the center, right.
Okay.
That's right.
Any other public
70
comment?
feet.
Last chance, public comment. Was it about something that was discussed here today?
Yes.
Okay. State your name and address, please.
Brooke Hoffner, 5 South Monroe. This is regarding Atlantic Avenue and people crossing, and people really are emboldened to just cross whenever they want. And I wonder if syncing up the lights so all the reds are red at the same time would make it so people are encouraged to cross at red lights instead.
Chief, what's your opinion on that as the professional?
We try to keep them in sync. Unfortunately, if one goes out, it goes out of sync. What happens actually, if we sync the lights up, the speeds actually go up. It's kind of a bizarre anomaly. I don't know if you're a full-time resident, but in the wintertime, when we put them in test pattern with the yellow flashing, our speeds actually go down. When we sync the lights and people see they're green the whole way, they don't see the 2 lights in front of them, they see 5 lights green, and they start to accelerate and go faster. So, like I said, we try to sync them to allow people to get across, but it's something I can look at again. We can take a look at, or IT people, whether it's gonna work or not, I don't know.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Last chance, public comment. Is there a motion to close public comment?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Mayor Becker,
Yes.
Commissioner Amadeo,
Yes.
Commissioner Blumberg,
Yes.
Is there a motion to adjourn this meeting?
I'll
So
make that
moved.
motion. I'll second.
Mayor Becker,
Yes.
Commissioner Amadeo,
Yes.
Commissioner Blumberg.
Yes.
We will be in our regular meeting in 5 minutes.